Tonight, walking a financial tightrope with interest rates rising to the highest level in 22 years. The big impact on small business.
It's been pretty brutal, actually. You have to pay that every single month.
And the apps to save money by saving food destined for the landfill.
I get things that are on sale because they're closer to expiry.
70 alleged sexual assaults at a Nova Scotia youth jail.
This is the biggest investigation I've ever been involved with.
And a search for more potential victims. Plus, nominations for television's top prize.
Vote for me. Just please, vote for me.
Sizing up the competition for the Primetime Emmy Awards.
What? This is so audacious, you know? I wish I'd thought of it.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Good evening, everyone. If you're feeling the financial pinch of high mortgage payments, the Bank of Canada's rate hike today is only going to add to the sting, making the cost of borrowing even more expensive. The 25 basis point increase brings the benchmark interest rate to 5%, the highest it's been since 2001. The bank says the move is necessary to curb inflation. Since it started raising rates last March, inflation has dropped from a peak of 8.1% to 3.4% this past May. But today the bank said it doesn't expect to meet its 2% target for another 2 years, which is why it isn't ruling out more hikes. CTV's Judy Trin on the impact.
All right. And do you have an account with us?
I do.
Cass McMillan sells environmentally friendly green products, but this latest Bank of Canada interest rate hike has him seeing red. This is the 10th increase in 16 months.
I'm thinking how every month is just a month to month. You know, it's really hard to plan for the future. Every month you're just trying to figure out, how do I pay for rent the next month? How do I pay all my loan payments?
The interest rate is now at 5%, the highest it's been in 22 years. The central bank says the hike was needed to slow economic growth and core inflation.
There's no easy path to restoring price stability. We understand that inflation's a burden on Canadians, and we also understand that higher interest rates are squeezing many Canadians.
This means it will cost more for Canadians to renew their mortgages or borrow to buy homes.
The total impact of the rate hike since they started in March 2022 has been about a 65% increase to your payment.
According to the central bank, more than half the goods and services it tracks to gauge inflation have increased by more than 5%. Food has gone up 9%, rent is up 6%, hotel prices 13%, and restaurant costs have gone up 7%. Despite these rising costs, the Bank of Canada says spending was stronger than anticipated in the first quarter of 2023.
On balance, our assessment was the cost of delaying action was larger than the benefit of waiting.
But this rate increase also means growing debt and uncertainty.
Is this going to prevent people from coming in because people have mortgages? So like their rates are going up on those mortgages. So will they be able to shop with me anymore?
The Bank of Canada did not rule out more hikes. Inflation currently stands at 3.5%. The goal is to get it down to 2%. But Omar, we're not projected to get there until 2025.
All right, Judy, thank you. Consumers on tight budgets have discovered a cost-savvy workaround to cope with high food prices. Canadian shoppers are flocking to food rescue apps to shrink grocery bills and stop food waste. Here's CTV's Heather Butts.
That is $6. Every dollar counts these days, and people are getting more creative, spending less on groceries by buying cheaper items.
I get things that are on sale because they're closer to expiry. And then I just take it home and I freeze it or split up meat packages and freeze them.
These shoppers have joined the growing list of Canadians considered food rescuers, saving items nearing expiry from entering the landfill while also saving money.
When they think about food rescuing, they think about cheap and potentially unsafe food. That is not the case at all. Best before doesn't mean bad after.
Hundreds of thousands of Canadians are now using apps like Food Hero, Too Good To Go, and Flash Food that help sell perfectly good food at low prices.
They see the deal through their phone, pay through their phone, pick it up in the store the same day. So we basically took the discount food rack, made it look cool, put it on your cell phone.
Josh Dominguez created Flash Food to help reduce food waste at grocery stores. It has saved Canadian users more than $70 million since January 2022.
And then every store will have a different deal made available.
The app shows stores near you with products all roughly 50% off. On this purchase, it's a produce box and a salad kit.
This has become a lifeline for families. They're saving so much money on the app because the savings are so real.
Consider making a pizza. In the last year, flour has gone up 12%, meat and cheese 6%, fresh veggies and condiments roughly 9%. The Too Good To Go app allows restaurants to sell at a discount what would otherwise get thrown out.
This is an example of what will be in the grab bag today.
Food analysts say the apps are making the supply chain more efficient, empowering consumers to rescue food and save money, with prices only going up. Heather Butts, CTV News, Toronto.
A popular energy drink that exceeds Health Canada's acceptable caffeine limits of 180 milligrams is being recalled. Prime Energy, made popular by online influencers, has been seen on shelves in Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta, and contains 200 milligrams of caffeine, about the same as 6 cans of Coke. In a statement, Health Canada says it's aware that some stores in Canada may be selling it without approval, and we are actively working to address this issue. Tonight, a settlement may be in the works to end the prolonged stalemate at Canada's key trade gateways. The federal government is mediating between BC's port workers and their employer as the cost of the 12-day strike soars. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Melanie Nagy has the details.
In a Vancouver boardroom, a staggering number is splashed across a screen. More than $8 billion in trade disrupted, a figure that keeps climbing. Every second, BC's crippling port strike continues.
Canada's West Coast ports handle over $800 million worth of cargo every day, about 25% of the total value of Canada's traded goods.
Today in Vancouver, business leaders gathered to voice their growing concerns over a costly labor dispute between port workers and their employer, one rooted in contentious issues such as pay increase, automation, and outside contracting.
The continued shutdown of infrastructure that is so important to Canada is untenable.
According to the Vancouver Board of Trade, about 63,000 shipping containers are currently on the water and in need of unloading. By the end of the month, it's estimated that number will grow to 245,000.
We've heard from an agriculture business right here in BC that is waiting on parts. We've heard of a shopkeeper in Ontario that is waiting for goods, as well as an Alberta manufacturer waiting on steel.
Yesterday, Canada's Labour Minister asked a senior federal mediator to draft the terms of a settlement to end the strike. A government source told CTV News both parties received that proposal this morning, adding that they have 24 hours to respond.
Every single province sees some kind of impact from the strike.
At the Premier's conference, which wrapped in Winnipeg today, the strike and the urgency to end it dominated discussions.
When we see a 12-day disruption, it's going to take I'm told 2 to 5 times as long for us to be able to not only clear that backlog.
Experts estimate it could take up to 2 months for the ports to return to normal operations once the strike has come to an end. Melanie Nagy, CTV News, Vancouver.
The federal Crown Indigenous Relations Minister criticized Manitoba's decision not to search a landfill for the remains of 2 murdered Indigenous women.
So, my reflection on this is that this has been dealt with in a very heartless way, quite frankly. And we do absolutely have to try as a federal government.
The bodies of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron are believed to have been dumped at a landfill north of Winnipeg by an alleged serial killer. A search for the women could cost more than $180 million. City officials are waiting on an injunction to legally force a group made up of families of the victims to dismantle their week-long blockade at another landfill. Disturbing allegations tonight about decades of sexual abuse at a youth detention center in Nova Scotia. It took 11 investigators 4 years to hear from dozens of potential victims. And there are fears there may be more. CTV's Atlantic Bureau Chief Kristen Adjkate on what Nova Scotia Mounties are calling one of their largest and most complex investigations.
Nova Scotia RCMP say more than 70 people allege they were sexually abused while serving time at this youth correctional facility in Waterville, Nova Scotia, over a time span of almost 3 decades between 1988 and as recently as 2017. RCMP believe there are many more victims who have yet to come forward.
At this time, we believe there may be more than 200. We are seeking more information, and we are very hopeful other survivors will connect with us when they learn about Operation Headwind.
Nova Scotia RCMP have launched a confidential hotline to make it easier for victims to reach out.
We build a trust with them, and they share with us an account of what has happened, and we take that very seriously. And after the fact, we want to make sure that they have the supports that they need.
No arrests have been made, and police offered no information about a perpetrator. But Mike Dahl, a lawyer who represents 3 men who have filed a class action lawsuit against the province, alleged they were sexually abused at the same youth center during the same time window by the facility's swim instructor.
This particular alleged abuser worked there for decades and had access to many vulnerable youths in a closed facility.
We call it justice once the prison doors are locked.
Elle Jones is a prisoner advocate who has worked with many of the men who are alleging abuse at the facility.
These are children that were in a facility that was supposed to be protecting them and intervening with them, and instead abused them. Many of those men have gone on to enter prison as adults. They haven't received any therapy.
None of the allegations have been proven in court, and the province has denied any negligence, saying the victims did not previously report any abuse. Omar.
All right, Grayson, thank you. The death of an Indigenous man at a police detention center in central Saskatchewan has led to charges against a 21-year member of the Prince Albert Force. Sergeant Tyson Morash was removed from active duty and charged with criminal negligence causing death, as well as failing to provide the necessities of life. 33-year-old Saul Liberté died in a cell in November 2021, shortly after being arrested. He was the 3rd person to die in police custody in Prince Albert in a month. People in parts of Quebec forced to flee their homes after heavy rain have started to return. Hundreds in Sherbrooke, faced with the threat of flooding, were told to leave as a precaution. Yesterday, the Saint-Francois River rose an astonishing 4 meters in just 4 hours. Officials say surging rivers are receding, but now there's a risk of landslides. Some harsh criticism tonight against the federal government by one of the biggest newspapers in the United States. Under the headline, "Canada is a military free rider in NATO," the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal criticizes Ottawa for not meeting military spending targets. At the NATO summit today, Canada was part of some new assistance for Ukraine, but offered no timetable on when that devastated nation would be allowed to join the alliance. CTV's Kevin Gallagher reports from Lithuania.
NATO leaders embraced the Ukrainian president.
Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, welcome to you. Volodymyr, it's great to have you here.
While Ukraine is not in the most powerful defense alliance yet, a special council was created so Volodymyr Zelensky has regular meetings with its members.
Today we meet as equals, and I look forward to the day we meet as allies.
Even though Zelensky had criticized the defense pact for not providing his country a timeline to membership, he's pleased with what was achieved.
The outcome of the NATO summit in Vilnius is a very much needed and meaningful success for Ukraine.
G7 countries agreed to security guarantees that will provide Ukraine with tens of billions in military equipment, training, and economic supports. Even F-16 fighter jets will be donated, and Ukrainian pilots trained to fly them, while the Royal Military College in Quebec will also start instructing Ukrainian officer cadets.
One of the messages that we want to continue to send directly to Vladimir Putin is that Canada will be there for Ukraine alongside our other allies with as much as it takes for as long as it takes.
The Kremlin called the safety guarantees extremely ill-judged and potentially very dangerous, with another Russian official saying it could spark a third world war. The U.S. president says the war in Ukraine is uniting its allies.
It's a hell of a price to pay.
but it's bringing the world together. And people are realizing that you just can't stand by and let this kind of aggression occur.
Each G7 country will work individually to provide Ukraine with what it needs for the battlefield, though it's not clear yet what Canada will send. Justin Trudeau says those details are still to be worked out. Omar?
All right, CTV's Kevin Gallagher in Vilnius again for us tonight. Thank you. Tensions are rising on the Korean peninsula tonight after Pyongyang tested a new intercontinental ballistic missile aimed at hitting the U.S. mainland. North Korean state media released images of the launch, saying the missile traveled over 1,000 kilometers, landing in open waters off the country's coast. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who was at the launch, promised to boost his nation's nuclear fighting capabilities. South Korea, Japan, and the U.S. condemned the test, saying it jeopardized regional and international peace. Coming up, a tumultuous transition.
It's not frustrating, it's damn frustrating.
When a new benefits plan is anything but beneficial. Plus, an epic volcanic eruption in a seismic hotspot. Many veterans and federal public servants are dealing with a bureaucratic headache tonight, trying to access medical benefits. Some are still dealing with the effects of the Phoenix pay debacle, only to find themselves with new problems after the largest health care plan in the country switched providers earlier this month. Here's CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver.
As the country celebrated Canada Day, more than 1.7 million federal public servants, retirees, and their dependents were being transitioned to a new benefits plan.
Got my little card from them, printed it off, laminated it, and I figured, no sweat.
Veteran Doug Roberts thought the transition would be easy. Then his wife's diabetes medication was denied.
Due to a high call volume, you can't get through. So what's that tell you? I know what it tells me. We don't care.
Phone lines at Canada Life Assurance Company have been jammed and their website apparently overwhelmed. The move, announced last August, promised most public servants better benefits, including more access to psychological services.
I tried 30 times yesterday. It cuts off.
Shelley enrolled on time, but just found out a key document was never submitted, meaning for now, her $2,000 autoimmune medication isn't automatically covered.
I go to the doctors every 4 months. If I would have known about it in April, when I had to do my enrollment, I would have brought it with me to the doctors and got it filled out. It would have been seamless.
Canada Life admits it has experienced higher than normal call volumes and longer wait times and has added staff to the call center. We apologize for the inconvenience this has caused. The federal government says it's in contact with the company and is urging public servants to be patient. Words that for now bring little comfort to people needing medication.
It's thousands of dollars a year. And I don't know what I'm going to do by the end of the month because I have to renew those.
The union representing many of the impacted public servants, PSAC, says the government initiated this change, and the union is vowing to continue pressuring the government to make the process more seamless. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Still ahead, the scandal in British broadcasting. The identity of the BBC journalist accused of being at the center of it revealed. The wife of one of the most recognizable news anchors in the UK has identified him as the BBC journalist entangled in a scandal involving sexually explicit images. 61-year-old Hugh Edwards has been suspended while the BBC investigates allegations reported by the Sun newspaper that he paid a young person for photos starting when they were 17. But today, police said there is no evidence of a criminal offense. Edwards broke the news of the Queen's death last year and has spoken openly in the past about a struggle with depression. His wife says he is suffering from, quote, serious mental health issues made worse by the past few days and is now receiving inpatient hospital care. Some spectacular images today of an active volcano in Iceland. The eruptions began on Monday after extensive seismic activity in the region, about 60 kilometers south of the capital, Reykjavik. Authorities have warned tourists and others to stay away from the area. The European Parliament held a moment of silence today for a renowned and reclusive Czech author. Milan Kundera is best known for his novel The Unbearable Lightness of Being, which was turned into an Oscar-winning film in 1988. His work criticized communist rule in his native Czechoslovakia, which he fled for France in the 1970s. The dissident author died in Paris. He was 94. After the break,
Martin Short, Only Murders in the Building.
the talented Canadians in the running for an Emmy. Nominations were unveiled this morning for the 75th Primetime Emmy Awards. Plenty of Canadians got the nod to compete for television's big prize, but also notable, the names that didn't make the cut. Here's CTV's John Venavelli-Rao.
Here are the nominees for
When it comes to this year's shows to beat,
all you have to do is vote yes.
the top three, all on HBO, with Succession, The White Lotus, and The Last of Us combined getting an impressive 74 nominations. Leading the pack, the final season of Succession, nominated again for Best Drama and making history. For the first time, 3 stars from the same show will compete against each other in the lead actor category.
Come here, give me a hug.
The show's Sarah Snook also up for Best Lead Actress.
I think he's having an affair.
The White Lotus dominating in the supporting category.
The darkness is falling.
While The Last of Us becomes the first live-action video game adaptation to earn a major Emmy nod.
What did I do?
Toronto's Lamar Johnson also nominated for his appearance on the show. Other Canadians up for Emmys.
Go in there and you really...
Luke Kirby for his role as Lenny Bruce in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Martin Short, Only Murders in the Building.
And Emmy veteran Martin Short
I know what perjury is.
got his 15th ever nomination.
Martin Short, genius on Only Murders in the Building. I don't know that he'll win.
Apple's Ted Lasso topped the list of comedies.
I was terrified.
As for Emmy snubs, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Netflix show wasn't named.
Range Wars already started.
And Harrison Ford failed to get his first ever Emmy nomination.
Once again this year, they didn't nominate Yellowstone for anything, which is the most popular show on television.
The nominations coming as the strike by movie and TV writers goes on. With neither side budging, some think the Emmy broadcast will almost certainly be postponed. A nominated comedy writer posting, very excited to hopefully someday attend the Emmys for this once they are rescheduled for 2031. With the show still planned tentatively for September 18th. John Venavelli-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Good luck to the nominees. That's a snapshot of this Wednesday. Heather Butts is in tomorrow. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching and good night.